Well, hello. My name is Matt Edmondson, and you are listening to the e-commerce podcast. Now, I have been an e-commercer since 2002, which in e-commerce years is a really long time. Bit of a dinosaur in some respects. But these days, I partner with e-commerce brands to help them grow, scale, and exit. And if you'd like to know more about how that works, we'll just head over to the website for this podcast, ecommercepodcast.net. Follow the links and we'll chat. But today I am joined by the man himself, the myth, the legend, DJ. How are we doing, my friend? How's life in that very bright blue background going on?
Splendid. Couldn't be better. If I was any better, I'd be you, Matt.
You see, now that is an answer to that question, which I'm going to definitely steal. Love that. If I was going to be any better, I'd be you. I love that. I'm totally stealing that. Thank you for that.
My second favorite is, if I had your money, I'd burn mine.
Do you know what my favorite answer to this question is? When people say, how are you doing? And I'm like, well, listen, I used to say, I've got to be doing all right when I'm this good looking. And my wife, a few months ago, and I've been saying this for decades, DJ, when I used to actually was good looking until I became an old man. But my wife recently corrected me and she said, you're not allowed to say that. So I said, well, what am I allowed to say? She said to me, she said, you can say, I've got to be doing all right when I'm married to such a hot wife.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I love that one.
So I use that a lot, especially when Sharon's around, well, even when she's not around, to be fair. And so, yeah, that's why I've probably been married 27 years.
Fantastic. I've been 31, so give credit where credit's due, my friend.
Legend.
Your beautiful wife.
Yeah, absolutely. And our wives have not killed us yet, which is always a beautiful thing. It surprises me every day, DJ.
I'm alive.
Yeah, I would have killed me by now, but no, not you. You are a woman of immense patience and grace, which is just wonderful. Yeah. So, DJ, apart from the fact you've been married over 30 years, which congratulations, by the way.
You too.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, by the color of my beard, I've been around a while. I've been a little ahead of you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm catching up.
Yeah. I've been marketing, advertising, sales, PR for well over 35 years. Mm-hmm. Started out with B2B enterprise sales with Eastman Kodak when they were a big thing. Mm-hmm. I've been in automotive marketing for a long time. I started out doing reputation management in the early 90s as an agency working with J.D. Power and Associates. Mm-hmm. And then went on working with Toyota, Hyundai, Lexus, a lot in the automotive space because of the reviews that I was doing with J.D. Power, consulting, ghostwriting, speaking, etc. And I've started my own agencies, 3 different agencies.
Because one is never enough.
No, one is never enough. You just got to keep going because you need more pain and torture. And, it's like, I didn't learn the first time, maybe 3 times the charm.
Yeah, love that. Love that. So you've got your 3 agencies.
Been doing, PR and advertising, reputation management strictly almost since 2015. Took over CMO of a big national franchise and they had a 1.2 average star rating and turned that around to a 4.3 in less than a year. And sales went up, revenue, traffic, conversions, everything gets better with positive reputation. So I started writing a book about it, didn't finish it. And then I joined Shopper Approved, and the founder and CEO, Scott Brandley, and I were talking one day and said, let's write a book. So we wrote Reputation King, which I'm super proud of. And it is the first and only book on e-commerce reputation management. It's a real book with 91 full color graphs, charts, images, etc. 291 pages. And it's a phenomenal project. And it really kind of cracks open the true ins and outs of online reputation management, how to do it, the strategies, the techniques, the tools, why to do it, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. And it's an expose, if you will, on e-commerce reputation management.
You know what? Well, firstly, congratulations on the book, because I I, like you, have started a book many times, and I've yet to finish my e-commerce. What do they call it? The Magnus Opus. I've yet to finish that. So I am in awe of anyone that has actually completed their book. I think that's why I do podcasting, because it's just a lot easier than writing a book. So well done on doing that. But reputation management is one of those things that if I was to, sort of put in buckets the conversations I've had around e-commerce over the years and size those buckets. Obviously, a big bucket would be email marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads. And there's a little teacup that we like to drink tea from in England. That's the one where reputation management has come in. So I've been really looking forward to this conversation. Let's start with the obvious question, DJ. What is reputation management? What do you mean by that? Let's just clarify terms.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's a bucket, not a teacup. Let's just get that straight. Reputation management is really creating and syndicating reviews across the web. Seller ratings, now called store ratings by Google, right? They always change the names. So seller or store ratings, product reviews, and getting those syndicated to Google and Bing, and then also sending a portion of those reviews to dozens of third-party review websites. So, for example, Shopper Approved, whom I am with, we have our own microsite for each brand to display their seller video and product reviews on. And then you've got very popular in England, Trustpilot. You've got Reviews.io. You've got Better Business Bureau, which is big in the U.S. I don't think it exists in the U.K. You've got reseller ratings, etc. There's over a dozen open review platforms. And these review platforms are search optimized for organic search results for a search like abc.com, abc.com reviews, or product reviews. Now, those product and seller ratings or store ratings also need to show up in your Google Shopping, paid and organic. They also need to show up in your Google Ads. They need to show up in your social media channels. That is reputation management. Why is that reputation management? Because we did our own survey, 600 U.S. adults, which gave us a 98% confidence factor in the results. And what it found was that 2/3 of adults will look at multiple review platforms. So they're looking for that trifecta. They typically don't believe just one source. They want to look at 2 or 3 sources because they want to make sure that you're not gaming the system. And let's say, for example, you're looking at abc.com and you're doing a search for is abc.com legit, which is a very popular search term. In fact, if you look at your Google Search Console, you'll typically see that in the top 10. And you see a 1.2 on, let's say, Trustpilot. And you see a 1.6 on Better Business Bureau, or a 1.5 on reseller ratings, a 1.7 on Google My Business. And then you see a 5-star on abc.com. What are you going to think?
Oh, yeah. Right? Fraudsters.
Yeah, it's fraud. It's manipulated. It's what we call review gating, where a lot of review platforms allow you to delete all of the negative reviews and only show the positive reviews. Well, as a Google review partner, which we are, you can't do that. You have to display every single review. So you're not gaming and manipulating because it's false advertising, quite honestly. And you can be sued for that in the States. If you delete negative reviews and only show positive reviews, that's false advertising.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Lots of companies have been sued for that because people are making a buying decision based on the information you're providing. It's just like saying it's waterproof when it isn't. It floats when it doesn't. That's false advertising. So just displaying positive reviews and deleting negative reviews is in the same vein. So in any case, reputation management in our book, in our definition, really means making sure that you have positive reviews across the web, organic and paid. We have a tool called Review Destinations that allows you to send a percentage of reviews to all the review platforms so that you can do true reputation management. If you just buy reviews on Trustpilot, you just subscribe to Trustpilot, you only get reviews on Trustpilot. But if you have a Review Destinations tool that we offer, you can send reviews to Trustpilot, Better Business Bureau, Google My Business, or Google Business Profile, your own website, SiteJabber, etc.
Yeah.
And then, of course, getting your store reviews and product reviews in Google and Bing, because you've got to have multiple touch points because people don't trust a single source.
Yeah.
They want multiple sources of truth. And that's how we define reputation management, making sure that you're putting your true, accurate, and best foot forward. Now, the reality is a lot of people are afraid of collecting and displaying all reviews, including negative. Well, if you're a good store, a good company, a good service provider, and you have good products, the reality is by collecting reviews from everybody, you're going to have a much higher average star rating. Why? Because the reason you're in business is because you provide a good product and a good service. And that's going to be reflected in your reviews. If, however, you do not collect reviews from everybody and you allow people to, on their own volition, leave reviews, who's going to leave a review?
Yeah.
The people that are mad, right? So if you go and do a Google search right now for Nike.com reviews, you're going to see that they actually have terrible reviews for Nike.com. Well, we all know Nike is a stellar brand. It's the number one brand in the category. But yet on, let's say Trustpilot, for example, they have like a 1.4. Why? Because only the people that are upset go there and leave a review on their own volition. If you're happy, you don't do it. But if you make it easy for people, post-checkout, post-receipt of the product, and make it easy for them to leave a review, the happy people, the ecstatic people, the brand advocates, the brand ambassadors, and the people that are a little bit upset are also going to leave a review. But the truth is, the average is going to be very high, usually a 4.7 to 4.8. So that is also reputation management, making sure that you collect reviews from all of your customers and then displaying those reviews across the web. So regardless of where they go, they're going to see a good number of reviews and an accurate reflection of your brand.
Okay. There's a lot there, DJ. I'm making lots of notes. I like this. So reputation management, we're collecting reviews from everybody. We're making it easy and we're displaying them across all platforms on the web. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Really, it's just a piece of cake, right? Thanks for coming on the show. No. It's interesting, isn't it? This because we've gone with our own e-com businesses, right? We've gone back and forth on a lot of these types of things. I'm going to pick on Trustpilot a little bit because it is quite a well-known one in the UK, and we were with Trustpilot for a few years as a business collecting reviews. There were definite advantages to doing this with Trustpilot. I can't say that there wasn't. What I did find, and what the marketing team did find, though, that it was clunky and it was a nightmare because a lot of people mistook the review emails for customer service emails. And so you'd get a lot of really odd reviews on there. The ones that always amused me were the ones that left you a 1-star rating, but then in the description said, these guys are amazing. You're just like, could you change that? And of course, they're like, well, why would I want to? I mean, it becomes problematic. Yeah. The thing which has always intrigued me with Trustpilot is just the sheer amount of money they charge to collect the reviews. It is obscene amounts of money, to the point where after 2 years, they wanted to charge us thousands every month. I'm like, there's just no way I can justify this to myself, let alone anybody else. And so we ended up leaving Trustpilot. And I think, so I get the statement about reviews, and I think we do need them. Maybe you can speak to this because, I've got experience with things like Trustpilot. What's the state of the review gatherers, if I can call them that? The software that you can use to get the reviews. What's the state of that market at the moment, in your opinion? Now, I know in some respects, there's a slight bias here because I know you're involved in it, but I appreciate, I think actually you're going to tell me the truth and what you think is going on in that industry, because I get that we need reviews, but let's deal with the frustration people have of using these kind of platforms.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to be as unbiased as I possibly can. We are a bootstrap, privately held company, always have been. We started out in 2010, bootstrapped, still bootstrapped in 2015. Trustpilot has taken public money.
Yeah.
And therefore, they have to answer to who? Their shareholders. And they keep increasing their prices without increasing their value or their product or their service because they're trying to pay off, right, the debt they've incurred and make the shareholders happy. So that's a fundamental issue. There are several that have gone that route. They've taken on VC money or gone public. And I've been on the VC side. So I've been with two different companies that were acquired by venture capital. And I've seen the same pattern both times where we had to cut corners to increase net profits and gross revenue to satisfy the investors.
Yeah.
And that's just the way the game is played.
Yeah.
How else do you pay them back? How else do you, make the investors happy? You have to increase because you've taken on huge, hundreds of millions of dollars in debt, and debt service with hundreds of millions of dollars is expensive. How do you do that? Raise prices, right? Cut overhead.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it works. How else do you achieve that? So that's a fundamental issue. And I'm not trying to pick on Trustpilot, but the reality is they haven't improved the product in years.
Yeah.
We are almost our number one source of new business is Trustpilot defectors.
That would not surprise me in the least.
Right.
It would not. Yeah.
As you just said, right? They wanted to charge thousands of dollars a month. You need reviews. You have to have reviews. Northwestern University, in partnership with the Spiegel Research Center, did studies. I'm sure you read this. It's a famous study. But they found that if you have 5 product reviews, you will increase your conversion rate by 270%.
Yeah.
If it's a high price ticket item, which is $100 or more, you can increase conversion rate by 380% by having reviews. Now, there's lots and lots of research, lots and lots of stats.
Yeah.
And we've done our own. But the reality is 95 to 99% of people are looking for reviews. Another study says that 70% won't buy without reviews. We have our own clients that tell us they've increased conversion rate by 272%, 380%. AOV goes up, LTV goes up, click-through rate goes through the roof when you've got review stars in your ads and organic listings. So you have to have, it's a fundamental thing. You have to have them. The question is, I would ask 2 questions. One, are you a Google and Bing review partner for both store and product reviews? Because you have to be a Google review partner to get your product reviews in the Google listings and obviously in your PPC ads.
Yeah.
You've got to have store and product. Some review platforms are only Google partners for seller or store, some only for product. There's only a handful that are both. You also want to have a Bing review partner because obviously you want your reviews to be syndicated to Bing. Now, a lot of people forget about Bing, but the reality is they still have 5% of the search traffic, which adds up to hundreds of millions, right?
Yeah. No, we make a lot of money from Bing. I am fully appreciative of the opportunities on Bing. Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of money. There's a lot of traffic there. The other question you've got to ask is, will I be able to send a portion of my reviews to other review platforms? So, for example, you were paying or threatened to pay thousands of dollars a month to Trustpilot. Well, what if you could get reviews, verified customer reviews on Trustpilot without paying Trustpilot? Right? How about reseller ratings? How about SiteJabber, Better Business Bureau, et cetera? Well, that's what we created. We created a platform that allows you to send a percentage of your reviews to all these other review platforms without having to pay all those other review platforms. Third question I would ask is, what's the cost? And what's the cost per review? We have about a 30% average conversion rate on our store reviews, on our initial review, which goes to your website and the Shopper Approved platform. So that's a very high conversion rate to collect a lot of reviews fast. And we've actually had people leave us thinking the grass is greener, and then they go to a competitor. And then months or a year or two later, they come back and say, man, my review collection numbers dropped. I'm down like 60, 70% over what I was collecting with you guys. So review collection rate is important. The overall monthly cost is important. I then take that and create what I call a cost per review, right? Because if you take your number of reviews and your total monthly cost, that's going to give you your cost per review.
Yeah.
That's important. And of course, like I say, being able to distribute reviews to other platforms and syndicate to Google and Bing, store and product. And of course, video reviews. You got to be able to collect video reviews because, as we know, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google loves YouTube, and consumers love YouTube. And if you can get your reviews to show up in those video snippets on page 1 from YouTube, as well as the review platforms, as well as your own review, microsite and your website and Google Shopping, you've now dominated page 1. That's reputation management. Now your reviews are all over page 1, and people are like, wow, this is a legit company because it's social proof.
Yeah.
Dr. Cialdini wrote the book Influence, and he coined the term social proof. Yeah. And people are looking for that subconscious buy-in that, oh, wow, all these other people trust like this brand, I should too. I don't need to do the research because they already did it for me. Right?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Love it. I've got lots of questions now, DJ, lots of notes. So before we get into those, though, let me just say that if you are in New Zealand or Australia, we are launching, and depending on when this comes out, actually, we may have already launched a little cohort group in that area. This is just where we get online once a month just to chat, fellow e-commercers. It's no cost. Come join us. It's very late in the night for me. It's going to be very early in the morning for you guys, but that's just the way it is when we're on the opposite sides of the world. But it's going to be fun nonetheless. So if you'd like to know more about our Australia, New Zealand cohort, then come and join us. If you'd like to obviously know more information about the UK and US one as well, let us know. Just go to the website, ecommercepodcast.net, or better yet, find me on LinkedIn and send me a direct message and I will send you the links for the cohort stuff. Now, this idea then that conversion rate matters, obviously. Conversion rate always matters, doesn't it, DJ, in the sense that I'm obsessed with my conversion rate on the website when people buy stuff. So I'm intrigued with this idea of conversion rates on reviews, as in the emails that you send out or the messages that you send out asking for reviews. And you guys are getting on average 30% more. Is that a UI thing? Is that because your platform just looks so much better? Is it because it's a bit more intuitive? Have you figured out the questions a bit more? I'm curious how your conversion rate is so much higher.
Yeah, good question. So the reason our initial survey for the store rating is so high is because we ask for that survey immediately post checkout. So they haven't even left the site yet, and they're going to get a survey request. They're already online. There's nothing else they need to do. Yeah. They don't need to open an email. They don't need to, look at a text. It's right there. It's the perfect time to ask, isn't it, really? Because they're more likely to say yes at this point. I guess depending on how many questions you ask them. I get bored after 3 and I'm off. But I get it. And we advocate only 3 questions, right? Some clients only ask 1, but 3 is about right. Exactly. But that's the best time because they're already there. They've got their fingers on the keyboard or on the phone, and it's super simple, super easy, done, right? So we and also I think they're a big fan of you, aren't they? Because they've just gone and spent however much, whatever your average order value is, $70, whatever it is. They're a big fan of you at this point. You've not let them down yet, and they're excited about what their purchase is going to be. So psychologically, I think they're obviously in quite a favorable mind at this point. That's right. I call it under the ether, right? They're still excited. They're optimistic. They're looking forward to getting their product, solving the problem, whatever it is they're trying to do, why they went to your website in the first place. Now we then follow up with an email, which is what we call the full survey. And the full survey allows the consumer now to change their initial survey and add more information because now they got the product and they've actually had it fulfilled. Or they can just, no, I'm good. Let's leave it. Yeah. They also, at that point, can leave a product review and a video review. So with a single request email, they're able to either update or expand their seller rating or their store review and a product review and a video review all at once. So it makes it very easy to do all 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I like these sort of things. I've seen a lot of them actually. We use one, although I think we're about to change. I think we currently use one called Testimonial for the podcast, where we say to guests who have been on the show, just leave us a quick review, and you can do text, you can do video. It's just a simple, easy, all-in-one capture platform, and I can see that making a lot more sense, especially as video is a lot easier to capture now. You know, with the state of the phone and all that sort of stuff. One of the things that intrigued me actually, as I was listening to you talk, I was asked to review which website? ThruDoc. So I'm a bit of a ThruDoc fan. They're a clothing brand here in the UK. And they sent a request to me to review a purchase that I'd made, which I was more than happy to do because I am in fact a fan. I didn't do the review in the end because it just kept going and going and going. And so it annoyed me. The more questions it asked me, the more it annoyed me. I don't know if this is just me being weird, because I appreciate the older I get, the less tolerance I have for this kind of nonsense. Whether this is actually a good practice that I see, you know, that I see more and more now. People ask you, oh, you click 5 stars and then it takes you to a page and it wants you to write some text and then it wants you to do this and then it wants you to, and you just like, I'm off, I'm out, you know. Is this common practice now? Is this good practice? I'm curious what you're thinking is.
You know, Matt, I'm with you. There is a real thing called survey burnout. And the more questions you ask, the more people burn out. Mm-hmm. I really like to say 3, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Always ask the most important question first. Mm-hmm. Because then at least you get that answered. A lot of people save that, you know, most critical question to the end. That's wrong. Mm-hmm. It's a mistake. So whatever you really, really, really want to know, ask it up front. And then also it's a good idea to say your question 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5. So
let
they
me know where I am in
they're
the
at.
system. Yeah.
I can't stand it when you're in a survey. And I like to answer surveys because I'm in that business, right? So it's okay,
you want to see what they're asking. I want to know.
Right.
I want to learn. Yeah, totally.
And I want to, you know, do the thing. So, but when I get a survey and you're 6 questions in and you have no idea where the end is, I'm done. This could be 20. This could be 30.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
No,
and most people are the same.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. It's an interesting one because I remember that, and I'm fairly sure it was ThruDoc. And if it isn't, my apologies to ThruDoc. And this is not a slight on them. It's just the platform they've chosen for reviews. I don't think, because I sort of bailed halfway through, they couldn't use the bits that I'd already done, if that makes sense. It was a bit like it's an all or nothing type thing. And I felt a little bit sad for them in some respects, because I like what you say here. Get the most important question done first. Get that information in the system at least. And then if they bail halfway through, you've still got something you can use, right?
Yes.
And I looked at that and I thought, well, darn it, ThruDoc, I should probably give you a ring, because I think you could do a lot better with the review system that you're currently using. I didn't rate it, if I'm honest with you. If I was going to review the reviews, it would not be good.
Well, you know, you got to make it simple, right?
Yeah,
People don't want complex. They don't want a time suck. They don't want to make it their life's work. They want to help you out if you've been a good brand, but they don't want to be 15 questions in.
No. Like you say, keep it simple, isn't it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And I think it's. I want to give a review. I'm the kind of guy, if I've got a good service, and I think most people are like this, I want to leave a review. You have got to ask me, because I'm not going to think to do it automatically. So you've definitely got to ask me to give a review. You've probably got to ask me a couple of times, because the first time you ask me, I'm probably mowing the lawn and I'm not going to do it then, you know. So you've probably got to ask me a couple of times, and you've got to make it really simple for me to do it. And I think if you do that, I am more than happy to leave a review. If it strays outside those boundaries, I'm struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
We found, DJ, maybe you can speak to this. We found actually just the biggest thing that transformed our reviews. I mean, I'm going back a few years, obviously, maybe in 2006, 2007. So I appreciate it was a very different world back then. The biggest thing that transformed our reviews was just simply asking. To actually just go, would you mind awfully if you left a review for us, and then using I think it's the Caldini he wrote Persuasion as well, didn't he? I think it was Cody. Using that strategy, which is just give a reason for asking.
Yes.
And if you give them a reason, you'll get much more people responding. So it's like, would you mind leaving us a review? Because it really helps us as we're a sort of small bootstrap business.
Yes.
Well, hello.
Exactly.
that thing transformed it. Literally, it was as simple as that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Obviously, you read his book and his research. But yes, if you give people a logical reason, then the compliance or conversion rate goes way up. So, oh, okay, yeah, you're using this for research or to improve your service or improve your product. I'll help you out. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, I've found actually, if we play around with that reason slightly, it doesn't have a massive impact, but it does have an impact if the reason that you're asking the question ties into the values of the customer that purchased it, right? Mm-hmm. So understand, this is where you need to understand your customer profile and what sets you apart as a brand. So just writing, can you leave us a review for company research? This is a bit dull and boring for a lot of our customers. So we would say the same thing, but reword it in a way that would be fun for them. It's like, could you leave us a review? Because we're trying to decide whether or not to sack the CEO of the business. We're trying to figure out if he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
It's just get something that's a bit more brand voice, I think, in there.
Yeah. Well, and if, let's just say, for example, you're selling products that are green products, right? Low carbon output. Could you answer this survey so we can provide better products, for the saving the planet, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're tying into that psyche, that underlying reason why they're on your site and why they're buying your products to begin with. Oh yeah, you get me, right? The reason I'm here is because I'm looking for green products and you want to create a better green environment. So I'm going to help with the survey.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
A couple other tips that people don't think about, but I'll just share with your audience when it comes to research and surveys is don't ask personal questions up front. Save those for the end, because if you start out with, what's your age, occupation, income, married, et cetera, that's personal stuff. And that's not even usually critical, right? That's nice to have. Put the nice to have at the very end. If they answer it, they answer it. But if you ask it up front, you're going to blow them out. Say, whoa, I don't even know you. I'm not telling you all this stuff. That's number one.
I don't tell my best friend that information. Why am I going to tell you?
Exactly. And, number two is try to have as many short questions, easy questions as possible. Because if you get into really long questions that require a lot of thinking, they're not going to comply.
Yeah, especially in the modern world where we just take anything that's longer than 3 sentences, we copy it, paste it into ChatGPT and say, summarize this for me, right? So,
that's right.
You don't want to do that with your review questions. It's hang on, let me ChatGPT to write this for me.
Yeah.
That's great. Listen, if you're listening to the show, and you haven't done so already, make sure you connect with us via our newsletter called the eCommerce. It's a great little newsletter. We put in there stuff from the show, so our conversation with DJ will be in the show, but also a whole bunch of extras go in there as well, which you're not going to want to miss. Lots of tips, lots of insights, so do go and check that out at ecommercepodcast.net. We would love to send that out to you, all free, of course. DJ, listen. I am aware of time. So I want to ask you for your question for Matt. This is the part of the show where, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, if you're new to the show, firstly, warm welcome to you. This is where I ask my guests for a question which I will go and answer on social media. So DJ, what's your question? I know you've been waiting the whole show to tell me what it is because you said, at the start, I've got the question, Matt. I've got the question. So what is that question?
Well, you've been around e-commerce since 2002. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you this question. Of all the things you've seen, all the things you've done, tried, tested, experimented with, etc., what's the one thing that you think every e-commerce store should do to maximize their revenue?
Okay. The one thing. Okay, I will have a think about that and I will answer that question over on LinkedIn. Come follow me, linkedin.com/Matt Edmondson. I think, anyway, you should just search for me, Matt Edmondson. You'll find me. I am there. DJ, listen, I've loved the conversation, man. And if people want to find out more about what you do, because and also, did we have this recorded when we talked about your podcast? Tell us about your podcast, what your podcast is all about, and how people can reach you and connect with you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, our podcast is a Traffic and Conversion podcast. It's officially called the eCommerce Traffic and Conversion Podcast. So you can Google that. We're in all the usual places. You can also download our free book, Reputation King, at reputationking.com. You'll also be able to download the free audio and free digital version. Just a little short form, and it's all yours. You can also buy it on Amazon. You can also buy it on the reputationking.com website. And it's a treasure trove of insights, research, tips, strategies on really creating your brand as the reputation king in your space. And that's why we call it Reputation King, because if you can dominate the web with positive reviews and become the reputation king in your space, then by default, you are going to get a disproportionate share of revenue and traffic.
I love that domain name. It's sublime. Reputationking.com. I think it's just brilliant. Have you got the merch? Have you got like a Reputation King t-shirt? Because I think that would just make sense to me.
That's coming. We've got hats and shirts coming. So
okay. When you get a t-shirt, send me one, and I'll wear it on one of the podcasts. We'll just brand bash with the Reputation King on the video, because I just think that's such a cool name. Really, really cool. But DJ, thank you so much for joining us, man, and really appreciate you being here. Let me do this. Yes, there we go. I love having my little sound desk. But it's been
Thanks,
great
Matt.
to talk to you. No problem. Great, mate. It's been great to meet you. It genuinely has. Now, DJ, we are doing this thing where at the end of the show, I appreciate we're at the end of the show now. I've got like a minute or two left. For those that are still listening, and I should have warned you about this before we started recording, but I like impromptu. Let's do it. See what happens. For those that are still listening, what is one great tip from that book that you can just quickly share with all of those that made it to the end?
Yeah, I'll just repeat. I think one of the most important things you can do is make sure that you're distributing reviews across multiple review platforms, because again, it helps your SEO, it helps your street cred, it helps your traffic, it helps your conversion, because that's one component of becoming a reputation king. And that really should be the end goal. Collecting reviews just on your website, it's like living on an island. People will only see them if and when they get there. But if you can distribute reviews across the web in paid and organic, multiple sites, multiple review platforms, Google, etc., now people will see your reviews in more places. You'll have a higher click-through rate, and you'll have a higher conversion rate. Now, going back to Dr. Cialdini, he wrote the book Persuasion, wrote this whole chapter in another book about persuasion. If people see a lot of reviews and positive reviews across the web about your brand and products, they are persuaded to buy. So they're coming pre-converted, if you will. So it's just critical that you think about this in bigger terms than just collecting reviews on your website.
Fantastic. DJ, thanks, man. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom. Loved every minute of it. And that's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. That's it from DJ. Have a fantastic week wherever you are in the world. I will see you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks, Matt.